Welcome back to another episode of War in Cali. In this episode, I'm gonna detail some things in LA's gang culture. LA's gang culture has been a trendsetter in many things across the nation. In the 70s, many youths formed gangs that still in this current day, 40 plus years later, are still relevant and active. Movies and shows depictions of the gang lifestyle in California, and especially places like Los Angeles, made many people infatuated and intrigued with the gang lifestyle. With the growing drug trade in the 80s, gangs from Los Angeles County being various Crip and Blood gangs spread to numerous other places in California, like San Bernardino, Bakersfield, San Diego, Stockton, Sacramento, Fresno, and a whole list of other cities, and it wouldn't just stop in California. Many states across the country in the 80s will have a bunch of young Crip and Bloods flooding their cities and states to sell their drugs and make an even bigger profit in the untapped drug markets of the smaller regions. The California Crips and Bloods will be admired by the communities they would settle in throughout the Midwest, the East, and the South. The California lifestyle was fast-paced, and the Cali gang members had charisma, style, and displayed traits and things many locals never seen. LA gang members had structure and possessed agendas that made them different and look cool, and money and strength and power made it easy to convert the locals to Crips and Bloods, and LA gang members to bring their exact hoods or just Crip and Blood identity worldwide. As the years grew, Los Angeles and California lifestyle would be broadcasted in several movies and shows, and also documentaries. You have movies like Colors in 1988, Boys in the Hood in 91, and Menace to Society in 93, among several others, giving the world a broad view of how the streets of California were. You would even have rappers like Ice Cube, who would even mention how California's influence went to other states in his songs like Summer Vacation. Also, rappers like DJ Quick will also mention this in songs like Just Like Compton. By the 90s, LA style of dressing, lingo, and colors used had many in a chokehold. That included hats, team apparels, and color of rags. Many other things shaped the gang lifestyle and also the culture. Los Angeles County stood out among many different regions in the world because things considered not that serious in other places like hats can lead to issues in LA. Almost every single gang, from Mexican, Asian, Pacific Islander, and black gangs all claim a certain Major League Baseball hat to represent their gangs. As the years grew, tattoos became even bigger than ever in the culture, and gang members became disrespectful in their tattoos. Disrespecting your enemies has always been around, but a major trend of dissing them in the forms of tattoos, which gained the name Whackouts and Eyebusters, became big, and I'm gonna give you some examples. Now, BPS are a notorious blood set in LA, with a lot of Crip rivals. One of their main rivals would be the Rolling 40 Crips. A BPS member shows his disrespect to the 40s with a glove, which the glove is used to represent the 40s. He puts an X over their glove to show disrespect to the 40s. Now, most of y'all probably already know C-Mac from 5'5" Neighborhood Crips and his tats on his head showing disrespect to the Hoovers. That goes without saying. Tattoos like this make you a target, and not to mention, he has other tats dissing other gangs. In the stories we hear about C-Mac in county jail, he paid for those disses on his face by getting his ass kicked.
Oh, neighborhood Crip, cut, fire me, fire me, fire me. I'm like, oh, cut. Oh, neighborhood Crip, cut, keep fire on me on hood. Then as soon as I get up, this motherfucker gonna tell me, you ain't no real Hoover killer. That's when we got out again. We went back and fifth in the corner. And that's when it stopped. After it stopped, I said, goddamn. I said, oh, neighborhood Crip, you hit hard, Jap. I ain't even gonna lie. It was like a toddler hitting me in the motherfucking face with a hammer. I'm gonna keep it 55th Street with you.
Now, these next tattoos is an extreme case of disrespect. Now, a Rolling 90 Crip member shows straight disrespect to the Hoovers. He lists every Hoover set on his back and X'd them out, along with putting up the Hoover sign and putting the middle finger right next to it. Now, the Rolling 90 Crips, they're an active gang, and they got a lot of beef with a lot of gangs in LA, including the Inglewood Family Gangsta Bloods. Now, the Inglewood family used the Cleveland Indian to represent their set, but the 90 Crips, they dissed the Inglewood family in this tattoo by having the Indian missing teeth and bruised up. Now, A. Trey Hoover rapper Treyway 6K has several tattoos dissing his enemies. You can see on his arm, he has a tattoo of a New York Yankee logo whacked out with an X over it, showing disrespect to the neighborhood Crips as a whole. All gangs affiliated with the neighborhood Crips use the Yankee logo, and neighborhood Crips are all rivals to the Hoovers. A rapper affiliated with the neighborhood Crips, and the Rolling 40 Crips to be exact, is X4. He had numerous tattoos repping his set, and some dissing his enemies like the Hoovers. And his hate for the Hoovers is different. X4 has several family members from the Hoovers, including a deceased brother who was accidentally killed by the Hoovers by mistaken identity, and also a little brother who claims 7'4" Hoover. X4 little brother went viral several years ago with him slapping a corn man and also fighting Jack 5. But X4 has no love for the Hoovers, having tats on his face like a big HK to diss the Hoovers.
So Yeah, I hate hoochies cuz with the snoochies, bro. They cause like emotional damage to my family cuz type shit. I never even got a chance to meet my brother, bro. On crib, cuz I was 2 years old. So when I say on HK hit different on crib.
Right.
Yeah, homies. My HK hit different.
As you can see, that's just half of how LA gang culture is different than a lot of places. Now let's talk about another disrespectful thing in the gang world, and that's the fashion. Now, hood days are a thing that every hood in LA celebrates one time out the year, the same day every year. It will be a celebration for certain gangs, depending on the time point. For example, gangs like the Rolling 60s use June 10th, the 6th month, 10th day. 6 times 10 equals 60, so that's the perfect day to celebrate their hood. Most hoods use calendar days to match their hood. And on hood days, most gangbangers go all out and do the most with their fashion. Now, the Hoovers are one of the most hated gangs in Los Angeles. They have a ton of rivals, and on their hood days, it lets you know how much they hate their ops and their disrespect for every single one. And the Five Deuce Hoovers are one of the most known Hoover sets, and they can get disrespectful. As you can see on their clothing, it's all disses to their enemies. You can see an M X'd out for the main streets, a piece of toast, which is an enemy term used to diss the East Coast Crips, and also a box of fries, which is a diss term to the 5-5 neighborhood Crips. Now the A-Tray Hoovers on their hood day got the Rolling 60s X'd out and had multiple bullet holes through it, along with the M X'd out for the main streets and the U for the UGs X'd out and more bullet holes. And you can see Treyway 6K with a 60 on his leg X'd out. Now once again, you can see a Hoover member from 9 Deuce Hoover on his hood day dissing several gangs like the Rolling 90s, the Denver Lands, and the UGs among others. He even has a gun pointing at a deceased rival, but the Hoover's rivals be on the same type of time as them. Rolling 30 Crip rapper AFM Bobster disses several gangs on his shirt, starting with the Hoovers, putting a bullet hole through the Houston Astro logo the Hoovers use, along with dissing blood gangs like BPS. A Rolling 60 Crip member also shows disrespect to the Hoovers by Xing out oranges, putting HK on his legs, and putting a Hoover killer on his chest. Gangs in the Rolling 100 Crip Alliance also have a deep hate for the Hoovers, and you can see in various members' apparel. They even take it up a notch by dissing every Hoover set and putting the deceased member on the shirt. The Main Street Crips are one of the Hoovers' top rivals, and you can see them dedicating the shirt to diss the Hoovers and listing every Hoover set out and crossing them out. And some of the brands will feel the exact same way, dissing the Hoovers and all Crips, especially the Rolling 40 Crips and the 5-5 neighborhood Crips. And the Inglewood Bloods and Power Rules will have a deep hate for Crip affiliated gangs, especially the neighborhood Crips. You can see the neighborhood Power Rule members dissing the Rolling 60s, and the other Crips taking it as far as even dissing deceased rapper Nipsey Hussle, putting him on the shirt and Xing him out. So being the most disrespectful you can be is something most gang members try to do. And this is what makes LA gang culture stand out from many other regions and gang scenes. It's kind of disrespectful rappers in other cities and states, but LA disrespect is often shown in different ways than others. Let me know what you think about LA culture in the comments. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.